An original bit. Hey, how's it going? Bad? Oh. I'm sorry to hear about that. Anyway, I'm Parker. There. I'm Parker, and I've been a gamer all my life. My earliest memory is getting a red Game Boy Advanced with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And ever since then, I was hooked. I had a DS, a Wii, Xbox 360, Xbox One, most recently, PC. Throughout my life, I've mostly played multiplayer games. Think your Mario Karts, your Smash Bros, Destiny when I was in middle school, and most recently, Valorant and the other Riot game. It's safe to say I've missed quite a few gems in my 22 years of life. Most of them because I wasn't born yet, but that shouldn't stop me from going back to the archives, dusting off some classics and truly experiencing them for the first time. But where to start? It's been 50 years since the first commercially available video game, Computer Space, came out. This one was dog trash. So I did what anybody else would do, trying to search for an answer. I went to Google. And the first 6 results didn't support the narrative that I was trying to create for this video. So they're all trash and bad. Hell. Lucky number 7, Metacritic, the oasis of games journalism, had at the number 1, undisputed, no one else disagrees with Metacritic, they are right always. Before we get into it, there are a few caveats. Number 1, I've technically played this game before, but it was on a plane a couple months ago, and it was only the first part in order to make sure I actually enjoyed playing the game before I fully committed to making a whole video about it. Number 2, I did follow a guide for this playthrough. It was a great guide, will be linked in the description down below, but that was just so I didn't have 1,000 hours of VODs to watch to edit down into this video for you guys. And number 3, it was all streamed at twitch.tv/Parker. Come hang out, backseat me. I'm going to be doing Majora's Mask next, and you'll get to see it before anyone on YouTube does. Just come and hang out. Alright, back to the adventure. So, basically, it opens up with the Great Deku Tree talking about how Link is so quirky and weird because he doesn't have a fairy. Link is currently having a nightmare, tossing and turning, and we fortunately get to peep the horror. We go inside the deranged mind of Link, and we see a drawbridge being lowered, 2 figures running away on horseback. As they run past, we make eye contact with the little girl on the back of the horse. Bam! Turn around. Giant, evil-looking dude on horseback, laughing. Ra-ha-ha! Fade to black. Someone calls for Navi, resulting in the loss of a perfect score for this game, capping it at least a 99. And our life is never at peace again. Navi annoys Link for the first time, waking him up, says, "Hey bro, we gotta go talk to the Great Deku Tree. You gotta hear this." So Link gets up, goes grabs a sword from the forest, gets extorted by a short capitalist, and we're off to the Great Deku Tree, who just lets us in his mouth. We just walk in. We start by scaling up the tree, climbing up, and we find the slingshot, our first weapon of the run, besides the sword that we found. So our second weapon of the run. We eventually get to the top of the tree, and we do a sick jump that I definitely do not fail the first time. We do some more fun dungeon stuff in the bowels of the beast, and we fight our first boss, the parasitic armored arachnid. Go on my balls? This is what we're going with? This is the joke? Here, we face our real first challenge of the run. Not the boss, actually pretty easy. Talking about the camera controls and how when you're in first person, it's inverted, and then also the sensitivity is super high in first person, so it's kind of hard to aim. But that's just a me thing. Can't knock it with the game. That was just how the times were back then, but it did take me a little bit of getting used to. I'm not gonna make you suffer through the whole boss fight because I'm a nice guy, but I'll let me from the past take it from here.
Wow, good thing I stopped the parasite in the Great Deku Tree. Now he can live a long and prosperous life as a magical tree that gives birth to elves or whatever is going on in this little area.
Thank
God. Yep, more to tell ye. Oh, sure. Can I say what happens if I say no? Oh. He's gonna die.
So the tree's dead. We get the emerald, and now we have to go to the castle to meet the princess. Before we leave the village, Saria stops us and says, "Link, I always thought you were cute. What if you took my ocarina so you'd remember me? I'm sure I'll see you again." And Link is afraid of intimacy, so he takes the ocarina and runs away towards the castle. He's got no time for these hoes. He's the hero of time. He's got to save the world. We get to the castle. I flawlessly execute a stealth mission. Definitely don't get captured 3 times before it. We finally meet Princess Zelda, the namesake of the game. She tells us about some gods and the Triforce and how she had a prophetic dream. And I was in it. Link. And she's like, "All right, dude, we gotta go open the Temple of Light. You need to collect these 3 stones." And oh, wow, you already got one of them. Good job. But yeah, Ganon's in here and I'm not feeling his vibes. He seems like a bad dude. Then Ganon looks out and looks at us. Kind of like he knows what's going on and what's about to go down over the course of the game. But he doesn't like freak out or anything. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He's Ganon. But now we know the gravity of the situation. We are off to find our other stones. So Death Mountain is the home to Goron City, and that's where we meet Darwina and the Gorons. We walk into Darwina's room and he's really not feeling us. And then we play a little song on our ocarina and he absolutely busts down. He's like, "Yo dude, those are some fire beats. I'm not depressed anymore. What you looking for?" I'm like, "Yo dude, I need that ruby from you. Where's it at?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you gotta go into the Dodongo Cavern and kick those guys out if you want the ruby." No sweat. I already did this in a tree. It's a Dodongo. I'll take it on. I feel like this might be the easiest dungeon in the game. I don't really remember it too well, if I'm being completely honest. This bomb thing was cool. And oh yeah, we got the bomb bag. So that's kind of an important item. Once we get the bomb bag, we drop the bombs into the giant skull of a Dodongo. We can finally face King Dodongo. This boss fight's pretty simple. He eats bombs, and then that hurts him. Who would have thought? Using my god gamer skills, take out the boss pretty easily. Then Darwina shows up, and he's like, "My brother, we are linked for life." And I'm like, hell yeah. He gives us the ruby, bringing us one step closer to the Temple of Time. Before continuing the game, I climb to the top of Death Mountain and meet a great fairy who pees on me. And that makes my spinny attack better. For some reason. Moving on to the 3rd and final gem. We go to the Zoran's Domain. And I just want to appreciate my favorite song in this whole game for a second. Just nice, calm, sick beats. Go up to the king and say, "Yo, we're looking for the sapphire, bro. What's up?" He's like, "Oh, where the right princesses?" And good thing we found a message in the bottle in Lake Hylia. So we show it to him and he's like, "Oh, damn. Can you go get her?" He scoots his ass out of the way. It takes 10 seconds in real life time. Great. Moving on, we feed a fish to the bigger fish, and that bigger fish floors us instead of just eating the small fish. And you know what? I'll give it up. This dungeon really makes you feel like you're being eaten by a giant fish. We start to make our way further down the throat of this giant fish. And in the 3rd room, there she is, the princess. Cool, let's grab her and go. And she is not having it. She's like, "Oh, I don't have the sapphire anymore. I lost it in the belly. Will you help me find it? But you gotta pick me up and carry me the whole time." So we do that. We just pick up the fish princess, carry her through Jabu Jabu's belly. Here we find the most OP item in Youngling's arsenal, Boomerang. This will help us out a lot. It is super powerful. Eventually, we find the Sapphire. She jumps out of our arms and runs up to it, grabs it and says, "Yay, yay, take me home, Link." Unfortunately for our silent protagonist, she's standing on an elevator. She gets raised up, and we have to fight our first boss of the dungeon. It's just like an octopus. You just kind of blow him up, and he turns around and you hit him. Not that bad. We take him down with ease. We go up the elevator to fight the real boss of the dungeon. Bioelectric Anemone Brainiard, who honestly, sleeper boss, real easy. Boo. Take him down so fast. Not even close. Thus, saving the princess and securing ourselves a sapphire, which the princess tells us that is actually a sign of proposal for the Zoran people. So that's another lady that has fallen in love with us. But again, Link doesn't care. He needs to save time. We can finally go to the Temple of Time and kick Ganon's ass. But as soon as we get to the wall, we get a little bit of deja vu. The drawbridge lowers. We see Ashika and Zelda run out on our horse. Zelda throws an ocarina into the moat. We turn around, Ganon's on his horse, and he says, "Boy, which way did they go?" And Link ain't a snitch, so he doesn't tell him at all. And Ganon just blasts his ass with magic and goes and does King of Evil shit. I don't know. The game doesn't tell us. We wake up, go for a little swim, dip in the pond, and we grab the titular Ocarina of Time. We say, "Fuck Saria's ocarina. Dumb as shit, no magic powers, bullshit ocarina, go die." So, with our new Ocarina of Time, we go to the Temple of Light, put down the 3 gems, play a little ditty on our new ocarina, and the door opens. We walk in, grab the Master Sword, and then 7 years go by. And everything's gone to shit. And Hyrule is in a bad spot. An old man shows up, and he's like, "I am the Sage of Light. Link, you need to go and free the other sages from the temples. You can do it." Link is tired. He wanted to kick ass and go home. But that's not the world we live in. So he gets up and saunters on towards the Forest Temple. But before that, we have to go to the graveyard and beat a ghost in a race to get the hookshot, so we can like Spider-Man around. Once we make our way to the Forest Temple, we meet Sheik, who's just standing outside, and she's like, "Yo, let me give you this song. And if you play the song, you can teleport to the temple. And I'm gonna do this outside of every temple. Don't you worry." And we say, "Yes, ma'am, thank you." We wander through the Forest Temple, get the bow, which is just the big boy slingshot, and we have to kill 4 ghosts in total to get to the boss room. 2 are just like kind of chilling out, hiding in paintings. You just shoot the paintings and then beat them up. 3rd one, you have to do like a little puzzle of his face, and he comes out and he goes, "Ooh, I'm a ghost," and then you kick his ass. 4th one was just chilling out in the main room, but you had to kill the other 3 first, and then they're like, "Wow, you killed all my friends. That's fucked up." So you just kill the last one and send him to hang out with his pals. Then you ride down an elevator, do a little spinny puzzle in this room, and you finally get to the smallest boss arena of all time, where we fight Ganondorf. And finally, the game's over. We can win. But then Ganon takes off his head, and it's not actually Ganon. It's a Phantom Ganon. I don't know. I think Ganon's just using his powers to like conjure a spirit to try to kick your ass. That shit's light work, you know. Only failed once, maybe twice. But this is another boss where the camera controls really hurt you. It's kind of hard to shoot the horse that comes out of the painting out of the air. I failed at that a lot of times. I ran out of arrows, and I had to use the hookshot, which was even harder. But I'm a god gamer. I tap heads in Valorant. This is just another day on the job for me. So, shoot him out of the air, do a little ping pong action, and we beat the boss. Step into the blue portal, and finally free the sage of the forest, which is Saria, our friend. She's like, yeah, sorry, Link. I'm just stuck here. I'm never gonna see you again. Bye. And you're like, damn. I kinda liked her. But we must go forward and continue with the mission. After we find out she's the sage of the forest, we get a cutscene where we see a little Deku tree being planted. And someone tells Link that he's actually not one of the elf people. He's a Hylian. And his mom was like persecuted or something, and she left him with the elf children. So that's kind of why he grew up there and why he didn't have a fairy before. And why he's actually like an adult now compared to all the other elves. They also say that we are destined to be the hero of time. It's got to be us, no one else. So, with that weight of the world on our shoulders, it's horsey time. We go over to Lon Lon Ranch, and it's been taken over by this sleazy dude. And he's like, oh, you want to ride on the pony? $10 gets you a minute of ride. And you play the pony song, saddle up on Epona, and you just kind of saunter around, jump around. And the owner's like, hey, dude, you're pretty fast at horses. Want to race? So you run around, beat him one time, and he's like, all right, double or nothing. But instead of double, you get the horse if you win. And Link says, fuck yeah, I want to hang out with a horse. Beat his ass again, and then he goes absolutely insane with power. He says, you know what? Fuck you. You get the horse, I'll keep up my end of the bargain, because I'm a nice guy. But, and this is a big but, you can never leave the ranch. But Epona is super swag and the goat, so we just jump over the wall of the ranch and escape. And he's like, no! I couldn't beat you in a race. How will I catch you? So, plus horse, El Bozo. And now, we can confidently move on to Fire Temple, which is up Death Mountain again. So, we wander back into Goron City, and there's only one Goron left, and he is rolling around at the speed of sound, very Sonic style. We throw a bomb at him, because that's the only way to stop him, apparently. And he goes, yo, I'm Link. Who are you? And I kind of freak out for a second, because he's not Link, I'm Link. How could he be Link if I'm Link? He's like, nah, bro, that's just what my dad named me, because there was a hero named Link who saved us from the Dongo. And you're like, yeah, bro, that's me. Your dad's my brother. I'm your uncle. What's up? What's with it? He's like, yo, all the other Gorons are currently stuck in the Fire Temple, and a dragon's gonna eat them. And you're like, alright, let's go save them. I gotta go to the Fire Temple anyway. Just kill two birds with one stone. Our little nephew gives us some drip. We put on the red clothes, and everybody knows if you're wearing red, the fire can't hurt you. And we walk through a secret passage in Darwina's office into the fire crater of Death Mountain. As soon as we pull up to the Fire Temple, Sheik pops out of nowhere and says, yo, here's a song. Good luck in here. Peace out. And she disappears again. So we're like, okay, well, I've done this once. Time to go again. I don't need her. We walk into the temple and see our brother, who's like, you gotta kill the dragon, Link, and save our people. You've got this. And we're like, yeah. Little bro already debriefed me. I got this shit. So we go around, freeing up a bunch of Gorons from prison, avoiding lava, pushing rocks and such. Fight a little dancing fire guy, whom I actually didn't know exploded after you killed him, but luckily I had a fairy in the back pocket, so ain't no stress. Get the hammer, run around, smack stuff with the hammer, you know, normal dude stuff. Then we finally get to the boss, Volvagia, who's honestly, again, pretty bitch made. Not even a contest for a god gamer like myself. It's an easy fight for the Linkster. We step on the portal to go to the Chamber of Sages. Turns out our brother is the Sage of Fire. And he's like, yo, bro, respect on that one. I owe you. We're sworn brothers for life now. But I gotta do the Sage shit, so I gotta peace out. After the loss of our brother, we go back to the land of the Zora, and we find everything is frozen over. But the beats is still banging, so who really cares? The king is frozen, we just walk past him, and eventually get into the ice cavern where we kill a white wolf and get some iron boots. So we find some blue fire in this ice cavern, go melt down King Zora. He's like, oh, thanks, bro. Here's some sick blue. You put this on, you can breathe underwater. It'll be chill. Your color of clothes determines how affected you are by the elements at play. Sheik shows up and gives us the song to access the water temple, but I'm gonna put the main story on pause. Do the most convoluted quest line in existence ever. It starts at the top of Death Mountain, where we meet a giant Goron named Big Goron. And he talks about how he's the goat sword maker, and he makes the sickest swords that do a shit ton of damage. And you're like, hell yeah, bro. How do I get one of those? And he's like, oh, bro, bring me back my hilt and I can make a sword for you. And you're like, okay, where is it? I don't know, not my job, go find it. And honestly, if I didn't have the guide, I wouldn't have known this sword existed at all. First, you talk to the cuckoo lady, who gives you an egg for a pocket cuckoo. You wait a day, and then it hatches. You use that pocket cuckoo on Talon, who is the old owner of Bonmon Ranch, in order to wake him up. And he goes, oh, God, what am I doing here? I gotta go get back to work. And he runs off. You bring the pocket cuckoo back to the cuckoo lady, and she goes, hey, nice job. Here's another cuckoo named Kujiro, and it was my brother's cuckoo. Give it to him. You're like, oh yeah, sure, bro. I'll be your little errand boy. You run over the Lost Woods, where the weird brother is just hanging out. You hand him Kujiro, and he's like, yo, thanks, bro. Always wanted that. I do kind of need a potion being made for me so I can like live or whatever. So here's this odd mushroom. Go bring it to the potion maker back in Kakaroki Village. You say, no problem, dude. I'm fetching and I'm questing today. I hear you. You got 3 minutes to get from the Lost Woods to Kakaroki Village, and you ride Epona, get there in time, talk to the potion lady, and she's like, yeah, bro, I got you. Here's that odd potion. You're like, hell yeah, gonna take it back to the brother, and everything will be chill. Maybe I'll get my hilt back. The big sword I'm gonna get. Go back to the Lost Woods. Dude is nowhere to be found. But there's a little Karoki girl just kind of chilling there, and you give her the potion, and she's like, oh yeah, he's dead. Anyway, here's this poacher's saw. So you take the saw, and you run over to Gerudo Valley, where you hand it to a carpenter, and he's like, oh, cool. Here's the hilt of the sword. And you're like, finally, I am done with the quest. I can't wait for this big ass sword. Go back to the top of Death Mountain, give the sword over to Big Goron, and he's like, yeah, bro, that's my work. But, shit, there's so much ash in my eye. The volcano. I'm living up by this volcano, and there's so much ash up here. Can you go fill out my prescription for me? Yeah, bro, I got you. I need this sword. Run back over to the land of the Zoras, show the prescription to King Zora, and he's like, oh yeah, here, take this frog and bring it to the mad scientist down by the lake. Side note, sick frog. Love this frog. It deserves the world and more. You got 3 minutes to get from the land of the Zoras to Lake Hylia, where the mad scientist is. You show up and he's like, I'm gonna eat these eyeballs. You say, no. Wait, we need medicine for a big Goron up on the mountain. So he makes the medicine, and then you got 4 minutes to get from Lake Hylia to the top of Death Mountain. And these last two parts are heavy sprints. Very stressful times, because the clock never stops counting down. You just have to run and hope the horse jumps right. And if not, you're fucked. But I managed to make it to the top of Death Mountain, hand the big Goron the eye drops, puts them in. All right, I'm gonna get to work. It'll take a couple days. So you kind of just chill out, play the Song of Sun like 8 times or some shit like that. And then you get the big Goron sword. You're ready to lay waste to every opponent you'll face from now on. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Next up is the Water Temple, which is annoying for one reason and one reason. You gotta pause, put on the metal boots, sink to the bottom, pause again, switch back to normal boots, and then float to the top. Like every part of the water. But here we meet an older Princess Ruto. It's like, oh my god, my husband, you've come back. You gotta beat the boss in here to unfreeze the Zoran domain. Aha, aha. Save me again. It's just like old times. You're like, I'm not carrying you this time. Alright? It's like, don't worry about it. I'm fine. We walk around. I commit some possible war crimes.
Is there anything up here? Or was that just where enemies spawned? That could be entirely the case. Yep. Oh my god, they were in jail. I killed prisoners.
Pause 30,000 times to swim correctly. Then we go into this weird oasis room. And as we were running to the other side, Dark Link pops up. He mirrors every move you throw at him, but he doesn't have the big Goron sword. He doesn't know how cool I am, so I just end up beating his ass over and over and over. Just because I have more reach, and I take him down with ease. The room goes back to normal, and I get the longer hook shot, which allows you to shot longer. Nice job! We get to the boss room, and we fight this blue Gatorade looking boss, who isn't like hard. It's just annoying to hit the core because it moves way faster than the hookshot moves, so you gotta like predict it. But also, Navi doesn't really predict, she just aims fucking right at it. So it was just annoying to get through, if I'm being completely honest, but slight work for me. We step into what used to be the blue Gatorade monster's body, where we find the Sage portal and we get beamed up into the sky. And it turns out our future fish wife is actually the Sage of the Water Temple. She goes, peace out, babes. We can't get married anymore. Sorry about that. Pop out on the other side of the Water Temple. Shoot the sun with an arrow to get the fire arrows. She tells us that the Shadow Temple is in the graveyard in Kakaroki Village. So that's the next stop. We run on over to Kakaroki and literally everything's on fire. Sheik is standing by the well and a big shadow monster comes out of the well, picks her up, shakes her around for putting her down, and then seeming like he's gonna run away. Before making a U-turn to come and kick Link's ass. We come to, Sheik's awake, and she's like, yeah, that sucks, right? Hate to have to deal with that. And then she leaves. But before we could go on to the Shadow Temple, we gotta meet an old friend. Go put the Master Sword back, run to Kakaroki, play the Song of Storms in the clock tower, make the Music Man go absolutely insane. This drains the water, and we can go into the well for the first time. Inside the well is not really a dungeon, per se. It's like a little baby dungeon for little babies, like a little baby Linky. It doesn't even like have a boss. It's got like a weird little moving guy that's got like hands that'll grab you, but it's kind of whatever. You just have to be small in order to interact with everything. Defeat the boss, get the Eye of Truth. I never used the scientific name. Scientifically, it's the Lens of Truth, but I'm not sure if I ever called it that. With the Eye of Truth in hand, we're able to go become Old Link and finally go into the Shadow Temple for the first time. And the Shadow Temple wasn't technically hard. Here's all the footage I have of me in the Shadow Temple. Yeah, that is an hour and a half long. But it just mostly consisted of me just falling off because the floaty boots you find in there are the worst thing in the game. And honestly, I have never felt pain until I put those on. So we're just gonna delete that, and totally easy. I'm a god gamer. It's gone. We don't have to change opinions around here. Picking it back up at the boss, we fight the Phantom Shadow Beast, Bongo Bongo. Ooh. He strikes fear in the hearts of his enemies when you hear his name. Bongo Bongo. I heard this boss fight is actually like hard, and I struggled with it for like a little bit, but I'm not sure it's because I have the cool dope ass sword, or I'm just sick at games and nobody should ever question my prowess at gaming. But I defeated him pretty easily. Go to the Chamber of Sages. Impa's like, my goat, you are doing great so far. Zelda's alive and well. Don't worry. You got one temple left to go. Our final temple of the game, the Spirit Temple, which lies across the desert from the Gerudo Fortress. You pull up, save some dudes who are just trapped there. After we free the last one of the captains or whatever comes up and gives us a chill-ass Viber card. It says, I like the way you work. You're kind of like us. You're not like the other dudes. Link says nothing, because that's what he does. He hasn't said anything all game. He's not going to change now. We make our trek across the desert. We get to the temple, walk inside just to walk back out, and Sheik shows up. Teaches us the Desert Temple song, and then fucks off again. We gotta go be young Link again, so we teleport back, put the Master Sword down, play the Sand Song, walk into the temple, and here we meet Nabooru, a Gerudo who also doesn't like Ganon because, you know, he's an evil guy and kind of cramping everybody's style. She goes, hey little boy, if you help me get these silver gauntlets, it'd be real cool. Just go crawl in that hole and grab them for me. It'll be great. And you're a dumb little baby, little idiot. So you fucking do it. Why not? Crawl in the hole, do a couple puzzles, make our way up the spirit temple and outside on a ledge where we find the chest containing the silver gauntlets. Open it up, and the Buru's like, nice. Come on down and give them to me. And before that happens, the two witches that inhabit the temple swirl her up into like a vortex and fly back inside. And we are too young to deal with that. So we go pick up our master sword again and try to save her. We use the silver gauntlets to our own advantage to push a big rock, do pretty much a mirror of what we did while we were youngling, and come out on the other side and get the mirror shield. So we can do some light puzzles and eventually fight the bosses. The room before the boss room, we fight a giant metal man, or at least we think it's a giant metal man. We take him down with ease, and it turns out to be Naburu. And the evil witches come in and they're like, ooh, oh, you lost? We're gonna make you do more evil shit for again, and bye-bye. And they blast her away with some magic. Walk into the next room, the two witches are now fucking huge, and we just kind of reflect their beams of magic back at them until they combine into one giant witch who immediately winks at us, which I don't feel good about. They're 400 years old. What are they doing? You absorb some attacks with your shield just to blast them back and eventually take them down. So these characters actually die, and it's implied that they are going to heaven, which I'm not sure I like the implication of, because, you know, they're evil and they probably should be going to hell. This also implies that there's a god in the world of Zelda. Why is there a god if he just makes everybody suffer? Getting too existential. Stop in the portal for the Chamber of Sages, and surprise, surprise, Naburu is the Sage of Spirits, and she hits on us like every other woman in this game. Then the old man says, boy, it's time to go fuck up Ganon. You know where he's at. Go kick his ass. So Link teleports to the Temple of Light, where he meets Sheik. Then it turns out Sheik is Zelda. Who would have thought? It's not like a game has spoiled this for years. Looking at you, Smash Bros. Couldn't have held it in. How to have the biggest spoiler for the game revealed to me. Anyway, Zelda tells you about the Triforces, how they're the most powerful thing in the world, and how you, Link, have the Triforce of Courage. Zelda also tells you that she is the 7th sage, which is just kind of like, why did you tell us that there were 6 sages originally? Just like keep you like super secret. Ganon overhears all this, puts Zelda in a crystal, teleports her away. He's like, yo, Link, you gonna come save her or what? But now that we have access to Ganon's biggest weakness, light arrows, thank you, Zelda, we're like, yeah, I'm gonna go get her, asshole. You walk up into Ganon's castle, and you gotta go through 6 rooms first in order to open up the barriers to get up to Ganon at the top floor. First room we go into is the Shadow Temple, which took me about as much time as the Shadow Temple did compared to all the other temples in the game. We did this one first in order to get the golden gauntlets, in order to throw big rocks and unblock one door, I guess. But at the end of every room, there's a weird pulsating mass that you shoot with a light arrow, and that brings down one of the barriers. We go to the light room that's blocked by the giant rock that we throw away with the golden gauntlets. Shoot the weird thingy, barrier goes down. Then do the spirit room, rinse and repeat. Fire, rinse and repeat. Water, and finally, forest. We can finally start our ascent to conquer Ganon. Once we get to the top, Ganon is just sitting there like a peak badass, tickling the keys, Zelda above him. He's been waiting for this for 7 long years. He's going to kill you. He's gonna have a great time doing it. Ganon starts pulsating darkness, and Navi becomes a scared little bitch and says, oh, I can't get close, Link. You gotta do it yourself. Me and Ganon play ping pong, and after he loses a volley, I shoot him with a light arrow and slash him a few times. I change paddles to an empty bottle because I'm feeling swaggy. And eventually he goes down for the last time. We beat the game. It's over. I saved the world. But in Ganon's final act of defiance, he's like, "Fuck you guys! You're going down with me!" And Zelda's like, "Link, follow me. I'll get us out of here. It'll be easy." And she's the slowest NPC of all time. I'm running way faster than her. We got a 3-minute timer on her. Please hurry up. Run. Sprint if you have to. But just in the nick of time, we make it out, and everything is good. We've brought peace to Hyrule. Yeah, we gotta rebuild a castle, but that's not important. But that turns out to be absolutely wrong. Ganon gets up, gets huge, jacked, and throws our Master Sword outside of a ring of fire. Link says, "How many times do I gotta teach this lesson to you, old man?" Shoots him with fire arrows, rolls behind him, hits his little tail, until he goes down for the first time. Then we run, go get our Master Sword, he brings back up the ring, rinse and repeat. Shoot him in the head with the light arrow, roll him between his legs, slash the tail. Once he finally goes down after the second phase, Zelda shoots a beam of light at him, and tells you to stab him in the face. It's finally over. And you do just that. The 6 sages get called down. They trap him away and go to wherever the 6 sages reside, I guess, where they all hang out without you, because they're not your friend anymore. And Ganon's finally defeated. Hyrule is finally actually saved. We go into limbo, and Zelda tells us, "Link, I'm sorry for dragging you into all of this. It never should have been this way. Please give me back the ocarina, you little peasant boy." And we do. She sends us back in time. Credits roll on a big party all over Hyrule. Everybody is so happy that Ganon's finally defeated, but Link gets none of the glory. The silent protagonist is also the silent hero of the world. No one will know how Ganon was defeated. They just know that he's gone. You put the Master Sword back in the Temple of Light. You walk back to the castle. Walking up on Zelda, peering into the window at Ganon. Starting the time loop. That will never end. Then the end. The game just ends. You can't explore a world without Ganon in it. Because Link can't exist in that world. They have to exist together. And without one, Link, there's no Ganon. Without Ganon, there is no Link. Anyway, S tier game. Like and subscribe. See you next time.